Hi, hello everyone. Welcome again to our today's session. A lot of progress have been made behind the scene so far, but then I would try to show us what has been done, and then with that we can catch up and then move on from there. So basically, let's start. Let's go back to our VS Code. Let's go back to our VS Code. So now you can see right here I have run my train script, and then while doing the train, you see I use the smoke. I use the smoke mode. I can use the full mode, the debug mode, but then I'm using the smoke mode to just check if it's actually running. And yeah, gracefully it worked. It worked, and these are the results we got. Okay, I think my screen might be let me increase it. These are the results we got, and it trained successfully. Successfully. Actually, we are just testing it to see if the training work and if our code is completed. So all the initial errors that we have in our code has been fixed. Each script has been called efficiently. The issues we're having with data loader has been fixed. The issue we're having with logger.py has been fixed. So we just use some AI to prompt them, and then we've done some clear documentation of our projects. We did clear documentation of our projects. We have a README in the background. We have a README for the backend. This is a README for the backend, and then we have some other things. So now our training is working correctly. Our training is working correctly. And let us come here. So we are done with our mode what? Milestone 3. So now we are moving to our milestone 4, but there's a quick one here. So I've switched from using ChatGPT. I've switched from ChatGPT to using another AI. Well, the AI I'm using now is Grok. But then with Grok, I gave it access to my GitHub. So this is my GitHub. That's why I documented for it very well. I did a very good documentation. I documented it very well, and then I now connected it. I connected my Grok to GitHub, and then it can see and write the code. Actually, it's the one that helped with the debugging of my codes for what do you call it? Okay, I'm not sharing my screen. My God, let me share my screen, please. Sorry, guys. Let me share my entire screen. Okay. So yeah, these are what the outputs that we got. I'm sorry for not sharing earlier. The outputs that we got. We have the disease. We have the README. We have our config. We are using our smoke, and you can see the output runs successfully without any errors. Just some warnings, but there is no error, and it runs successfully even within a low time because we are doing smoke. So if it is full, it will take a lot of time trying to train as much as it can. But then we are not ready for the full now. We want to just try something. So I was talking. I used my GitHub. I put my full documentation and everything that I need. I push it to my GitHub, and then from there I switched from using ChatGPT to now using Grok. So for Grok, you can add a skill connector, and then you can authenticate the connector that you want. So I think I've added GitHub as one of the connections that I want. Do you get? So that's why I'm using GitHub, and then you can easily access GitHub and then use it perfectly. So I told it to help it check and then to make the code very, very much better, and so that we can finish. So it does this a bit cleaning, not changing the whole code or writing from scratch. A bit fixing of the problem. It fixed it, and then I was able to now pull it to my own PC. I was able to do so. It can't train locally on its own on the cloud. So I pulled the code, and then I trained, and it worked successfully. So now we'll be moving on to it's working successfully. Now we're moving on to the next part where we want to do what we want to go to the fast API and then some other stuff regarding the repo. So yeah, I think I'll just be discussing with it. That being said, I should have a new chat here. I'll be not using this my ChatGPT text to speech, or I'll provide it to Grok. So now what I'll say is, yeah, thank you. This is the output I got from the script to train using the smoke. So based on these, I think it's a success. I don't want to start the full now. I want us to use anything that we tried in Smoke, maybe the best model from Smoke. I want us to use it and move on to the other milestones and then use it later when everything works completely. We can then come back to do our pool and then just it should just be a plug and play in. That needs to be very easy to just move on from there. So yeah, let's continue that. So I don't think I need to push anything right now. We can just continue with the script that would enable me to get to pull and then test later. So we can just move on with the progress. So and let's do this by milestone, and we should be able to like complete as soon as possible. Thanks. So now I'll come here. I'll copy these outputs. These outputs that I have here, I would copy these outputs. And I did notice my PC used to freeze while we're having this call, while I'm recording. Don't know why. It freeze while recording. Yesterday, after like when I stopped the recording, it worked properly. So let me paste this one here. And I'll come here with this guy too. So crop this. Control V. So yeah. So now how I was able to like tell Grok to navigate through my I say, can you help check the crop disease project in my GitHub repo? And then it's mentioned, yes, this is my GitHub repo, my crop disease, and then this is the project overview, this is everything that we have. And it's telling me, okay, this is the last time I pushed, everything I did. So with that, I was able to interact with it, and then move on. So yeah, now it's moving on to the next aspect where we need to just use our words. So we need to use our fast API, and then it keeps writing it. So it's starting my milestone 4, which is very good, but we just have to keep testing and for us checking the results in our repo. Yeah. So I think let me just stop sharing. Let me share. Let me open this here. If you can see it now. So yeah, Grok is very good too. It's very useful for vibe coding too. You can actually use it. It has assisted in a number of projects before. So let me share something else. I want to just share. I want to stop sharing now. I want to share only that. Share screen. I will share this probably this. Yeah, I can see that now. So it is running in the background. Why I can focus on doing some more other things. I can focus on doing some other things. Okay, it's still working. It's doing quite a number of things. So it can write directly to the repository. It can write and push directly to your repository. It can write and push directly to your repo. But then I'll be aware of what you call it, context. So it's exhaust token, and be aware of token, be aware of token. It's exhaust token as much as you can. It's doing a lot of things in the background, and then you don't have control over kind of stuff that it prompts out. So it can exhaust token so quickly and fastly. So you have to be careful about that too. So use agentic development. This is agentic development at its peak. Instead of you doing everything one by one, it's doing it for you. And that's the difference between copying and pasting from ChatGPT. If you're using tools like Codex and Gravity, they will do this more faster and more easily for you. Do you understand? Okay. So now let's check what it has done so far. Let us check what it has done so far. Let's check what has been done so far. So smoke success confirmed, milestone 4 and 5 implemented. Milestone 4 and 5 implemented and pushed so you can stay on the smoke checkpoint and plug in a full tray mode later with zero API/eval changes. What was added? Milestone 4, evaluators. It added evaluators to it and then evaluators.py, load based custom py. Okay. Now, milestone 5, API plus inference. Now, against the API and then we're doing app service predictor.py, get this, predict, so we can even predict using predictor.py. So CLI single page may predict. So now we're not getting the fast API, we're writing for the fast API now. To also fix the grader scale depreciation warning. Okay, what you need to do after this, so I need to, you should run git pull. After git pull, I do cd backend, uv sync, extra my extra API. Okay, now run the script evaluate. Accuracy will be low expected here. Now, okay, we can now specify a what do you call it? A CLI project. Now we can start UVCon and then see. Next milestone is add a UI to it. But for our UI, I don't want to use Streamlit. I don't want to use Streamlit. I want to use a front-end UI to it. So let's try to test this. Let's try to test this out, and then based on that, So yeah, let's test it out and let's see how it does. Let me share another part of my. Let me stop sharing. No, 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 cancel. Let me stop sharing and then let me share my screen again. I've seen my entire screen now. I've seen my entire screen now. I've seen my entire screen now, so I'll plug in my crop disease and I'll do it side by side with my VS Code. So my VS Code will be somewhat here and then let me just. So when I have to do this, I try to reduce my screen size. I try to make this smaller. Yeah, so now let me see what was the instruction given. It says I should git pull. So I don't want to git pull from backend. So I want to git pull from where? Let me first do CLS. CLS means just clear my command screen. So I want to git pull from the from the root repo. Yes. So let's see git pull. Yeah, git pull. Now, there will be something. I'll say let's git pull. We might enter some issues, some conflict error because some new files have been created here and they have not pushed so far. But then let's see what it does. It shouldn't conflict anyways. Okay, you can see we're having some issues here. We're having one issue here. Let me, I think I would come here to increase my, let me open this guy. You say your local changes to the following file should be overwritten by Mage, backend product. Please commit your changes or stash them before you might. Okay, I think a very good one is I can just use I have to just make them final pull. But let's do this. So we have this guy here. This guy, I'll just make this guy sub you for me. So to give me the steps to do that and then we just come back to it. So after now pulling, after ensuring that we don't have a conflict, git status, git add. Okay, we have to do git add this guy. Git status. Status. Okay, now we can do git commit, git commit and git pull for it. Yeah. Git commit this guy and now come back to our git pull. So let's see what the response looks like. No, no, we can't discard the local. We can't discard the changes. We can't discard the changes. We need to make the changes. We can't discard the changes. Okay, now we have conflicts. We have conflict. It says what? It says automating backend. It's automating it. We're now saying conflict on what? On this file. So keep what? We'll keep this one. We'll keep this guy now. Which one are we keeping? We're keeping incoming changes. Incoming is full. No, we want smoke. We want to keep smoke. I think let's do this. Let me resolve this here. Git merge. Okay, you can now see it's retained full. It retained full, but then it says I don't need it, but then later I can tell you to smoke by the way. I can tell you to smoke by the way. But it retained full. So let's see, we've git pulled. And one thing I noticed from the git pull is okay, now we now have our what do we call it? Our main.py, our fast API here that is running successfully. So let's say git status, enter. Changes to be committed, all these changes we've not committed them. We've not committed these changes. So we'll try to commit it later and then move on. So now let's do this, let's test this first. Okay, let's go to our backend. Let's go to our backend. It says cd backend. Now we run this guy. We run this guy. It's going to add there's a new library that was added. There's a new library that was added for the APIs. This takes some time. It takes some time. Okay, I think it's working faster. It wants to add fast API. Another thing that will be needed for the backend, before we are just doing main what? We are doing main, we are running main, this guy. We are running main ML stuff. But now we're starting to move towards the ML ops. So we're doing some backend now. We're doing some backends. So let's see. Evaluate. This should be in smoke. This will also take a little bit of time because actually needs to run some codes and then give us our outputs. So afterwards, we try to test using a data sets, and then we can now even run our UBCon, we can run our app and see how it looks like, and we try to evaluate. So afterwards, we'll be creating what's a UI for it, creating a UI for it, just something simple. Use our AI, it generates them, and then we are very good to go. So yep, let's wait for when this guy is done. It is already working already. It's working already. Okay, so you can feel free to skip forward so as we continue. We are done with our evaluation. So we are trying to wait for it to finish evaluating and then we can see what we can learn from it. So we are kindly help do that. So yeah, we all could see now from our displays. You can see now our, what do you call it? Our evaluation has run successfully. So now to ensure that this makes sense, you have to use the full train, and also you now evaluate. Now you can see our accuracy is somewhat, it's our accuracy is low. So our accuracy is low, expected. It is expected to be low because we just smoke test and we got a lot of things. So now we can see that this is also working. Also, we have tried, and then we've seen that okay, we've tried to run the API and see if it is working. So we'll try to open this in our browser. Okay, I would love to open it more in my browser other than localhost 8000. Let me see. Localhost, not 3000, we do 8000 then. You can see it's working properly. Now let's say localhost 8000 slash docs. Let me not see the docs API. And okay, I don't know if the number of us knows how to read this, because reading Flask is also 18 on its own. Fast API is also 18 on its own. Let's go through how to read this. So this is it. This is our main.py now. I think our API should be on our APIs. So we have routers.py, schema.py. Everything will be linked from the main.py. You can see here we're running what? app.main.py. So we're app.main. This is the main thing that we're running. So now we have this guy run, can just start like this. To see the docs, you have like this. It is loading some things from the libraries. It is importing from router. You can see API.routers here. It's also importing from services, also importing from utils. It's also importing from utils. And the first thing first, we try to state our, what do you call it? To state our app, which is Fast API. Our app is Fast API. Load on startup. Now, if the API is running successfully, it lets us know. Description takes this guy in, and then it goes back into our routers. We have message, we have docs, we have else. That's the root. The one that we have a root. So these are, you can see this title. We have the title here. You'll get our title: crop disease detection API upload leaf. That's what we are using to explain. Now you can see we have our schema.py. We have the top K prediction response, and some other things. Route.py, which route us to different answers and different things. Image, to read the image, to score the image. So these are things that it is needed for it. So you can take a tutorial and grab a tutorial on what you call it, on Fast API. So now to actually try it out, so we'll go to the, okay, we've not even used this to train, we've not used this to test. Let's see if we can, this way we can predict. Yeah, let's predict. Let's see if we can select we'll try it out, and then we have to choose a file. Let's see the file we can choose for it and try to predict that file. So let's say desktop crop distribution. I think we have our backend. From our backend we have what we call data. Let's say raw data. Let's choose the raw data. Plant village. Potato early blight. Open it. Potato early blight. Let's select this. As I have selected that, and let me execute. Let me execute. You can see now this is the predicted body for me. This is the predicted body. You can see it has run. It will run in the background too. It has run here in the background. That's why you're able to see it. It says predicted class potato late blight. Did you select it from potato late blight? Potato blight. So it's telling us class index 3 confidence. This is the confidence. As when we trained more enough, we're going to have high confidence. So it's telling us I'm just 40% sure. I'm not really sure. Like I'm not 100% sure. Do you understand? It's telling us for tomato blight. You can see it is tomato late blight that has the highest. It is saying it to be as potato late blight that has the highest. It is saying it to be as, what do we call it too? As tomato septoria, as tomato target. But then it's telling us, okay, this one has the highest. You can see this one is 10%, this one is 9%. So it's using this because it's the highest. Do you understand? So that's how it works. And now this works successfully. It has worked perfectly like this. We can now wrap this instead of using this API of using this using it around this now. We can now try to do what we can now try to wrap it around the front end. You can see now our API is working perfectly. Kudos to AI. It's like it looks like the code in a very good way, in a very clean way. So now we can now move on to do what to testing out the we've tested out the UI and it works perfectly. Let me see. Let's test out other things in the UI. This is the else. It just gets the else root. I'm sure that was working. Now we can do batch. Instead of putting one image, you can put multiple images at a go. You can put multiple images at a go and then it keeps classifying them. So actually, I don't need this. I want this. So now we'll move on to the next place which is where we are going to do what we are going to be. We are going to be adding our front end. Let's see our milestone. What's our milestone? We've done milestone 4. State milestone 5 completed. React front end. Yeah, React front end. We are not doing normal front end. We want a React front end. So let me tell it. So let me tell it. On to the milestone, to the next milestone, to the next milestone, which is the front end, which is front end, and deployments. Deployments. Now, for my front end, I want to say for my front end, I want us to use React directly. Do I have Docker on my PC presently? I'm not sure. I don't think I have Docker desktop. I don't have Docker desktop as an app on my PC. Yeah, it has been removed some days ago. So from we are now from React frontend towards deployment, but our deployment wants to do it on render. Want to do it on render. So we'd actually use a VPS, we could use a Docker, but then we want to use from React and deployment through render. So testing and ensuring it works before deploying. Testing and ensuring it works before deployment. So we wait for that to work efficiently and work consistently. So our server is still on here, so I don't want to shut down my server. I'm shutting down, interrupting it with my key to shut it down. Not too much of a burden. And let's go on to this. So it will start working now. It will start working. Start working on it. Now let me check my render account. Render. Okay, now that I checked out render. Another good way you can do is using your Docker, either using Docker, using Docker or using a VPS, a virtual private server. So let me log in with this guy. Let's see what this guy is doing. I love to. Okay, so we are in. Sorry. So we have some things that I've deployed before on render before. So we just add a new one to it and then we'll be good to go. So let's click this guy. CLS. So render is free. It's somewhat free. So with that, you can get to see what's happening freely. You can get to see what's happening freely, so that we don't just get stalked and not able to do anything. So yeah, you can see deploy the complete application. We've developed a Streamlit, so we're not using Streamlit anymore, we're using React Frontend. So deploy and then push. So deploy application make it accessible to end users, scope, Streamlit, token railway. We're not using railway, render, right? We're using render. So we want to make logins to environment configuration, MLOps. Want to move, I will see, let's move on to MLOps and some other guides, but then that will be in probably another video. That'll be probably another video so that this don't get long. But then this how to create an end-to-end project. So later you can work on things like ML ops, checking the training, seeing how it is doing in real world so that we know when it is deviating from the original thing that it needs to do and when it's doing the actual stuff. So we don't just interrupt them together. So that we don't interrupt them together. So yes, so we wait for this to complete now and then we move on. Let me stop sharing and let me stop sharing and let me share the main screen. You can see that it is completed. You can see it is completed. So we are trying to check front end. We have a front end, predict confidence, treatment tips. Okay. Docker compose for local and UI contain. We have backend for image, API image for render. We have optional static image, render.html. Okay, yes. So run deploy.md step by step to deploy guide. Script download model if needed .py. Fetch base model.pt via model underscore URL on boot. On boot. Okay. Now test locally first. So we do see this our okay, we have this guy running. When we have it running, Okay, when we have it running, confirm we still have models PT smoke is fine, and we have this. Now we have a new term. We have two terminals. We have terminal one, terminal two. Now terminal two, we bring at our front end, cd front end, npm install, npm run dev, and then after that, pass criteria, byte API online plus model loaded, upload a leaf, and then based on that, check if your local is working. Optional full stack. So if you're using Docker, we can do this from the background. Render only after local work. So if render after local work, you can do on render. Host model PC somewhere public, like plugin face, direct link somewhere. We should host our model.pt plus class name.json somewhere public. Okay, I think we'll find somewhere to do that. Web service, Docker, root backend, root backend, this. Details in deployment with full training later replaces the checkpoint file. Pull the two terminals, run the two terminals, and then tell me the UI connects and predict if anything fails, space 0 on the browser. Let's see. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Let's see how it goes. The first thing I would do first is let me share my whole screen. Let me share my whole screen. Yes, I'm sharing my whole screen now. I'm sharing my whole screen now. And now let's move on to this. So I'll first now I need two terminals. I need two terminals. I'll say I need three. I need three. Let me open another new terminal PowerShell. I want everyone of them to PowerShell. Another new terminal PowerShell. So this first terminal is where I say cd get out cls. So I will now git pull here. I will git pull here. Let me do git status first before git pulling. Git status. Now I'll say git pull. Git pull. So to pull everything I have on my GitHub repo, to pull it down to my local repo, and then we can work. I can work on it. So after git pulling, for my first, no, move on. Come on, go. Come on, go. My first repo, I have cd backend. I'll do this and this around this. Okay. Enter. Close. It should be done. It has made some things for me. So now I'll say come here. I'll say CLS. I'll say CD backend. After CD backend now, you see I would run. I think I have to run deactivate first because this is trying to use a VMV that I have earlier. That I have earlier. So let me deactivate this. Let me deactivate this. So CLS. I can now bring this in, copy and paste it. I'll paste it here, and then let me run it. for it to give us the output. So now, not to check that this is not just a free file. You can see we have our front end here now. We have different posts here now, different posts here now, different. So no much changes in our. We have no much changes. Um, so we just let's come here. Let's come here. Now we run this. We just want to have this running. We want to have this running in this terminal. Yeah, we want to have this running. Now we come to our third terminal. Let's come to our third terminal here. I'll also deactivate for it also. Deactivate, play. Now we come here, we say cd frontend npm install npm run dev. Control V cd install. Npm install. Let's do npm install. So our npm install is working presently. Our npm install is working. Let's see. This is all right. This is all right. This is still running in the background. Once it is done, we just try to check it out. You can see it is trying to build everything that we need. Yeah, this thing is taking our tutorial is taking quite a long time, but then we've soon finished. We were saying, oof, it's still running, so we try to wait for it. Everything. So yes, let's continue. This is taking some time. Let's wait for it to finish so that it's enabled us to see our React front end. I've noticed I'm not much of a front end developer, so I'm not high on what the front end looks like. Just it's working, and it's not going to be your role as an ML engineer to be creating the front end. So basically, you're working with basically the backend engineers, and then they'll be integrating your endpoints into different projects. So our endpoint is just what's going to be needed. So we might just need the basic knowledge, but since it's a one-man project or a started project, you can have to like create those for yourself. So that's not too much of an hassle, by the way. Oof. Okay, so my network is good. What's happening? Why is it giving me errors? Okay, okay, still running. A long time, so you can feel free to just skip forward so that it's finished installing and then we move on. This is taking quite a lot more time, and I think it's because of the recording that is going on presently. So to not bore us with that, I want us to do something real quick. Let us check what our deploy.md what it has so that we can read it, because I might pause this video, I might stop this video here, and then we'll come back later to what do we say to just show us how it has worked, and also deploy what has worked to render. But then I will show us what it looks like before deployment. So we are saying front end test. Look, let me just open this as a let me open the preview. Open preview. So local test recommend before deploy, open terminal A, terminal B. You've said that before. Why is it not opening the preview? Open preview. Okay, yeah. Open terminal A, terminal B. Ensure it has that. So we are currently still at this npm install, which gives us this, and then we can now use it to access this. Now, option B, Docker. We can use Docker from our root folder, but then we don't have Docker. We're not using Docker here, so let's just stick with our two terminals. So now for render, host the model file best.pt inside Google Drive. Direct download links. You can just put it inside Google Drive. You can put inside Google Drive. I think Google Drive would be way okay. Also host the class name .json if possible. So and put the if possible class name like URLs. So put it in Google Drive. Deploy API. So in render, we click on new service, new web service, connect this GitHub repo. Our root directory will be what's the backend. We have our runtime Docker, we create our Docker file, instance, at least starter, free trial, often OEMs on touch, environment variable. We name our environment variable that we need, and then health check part. After deployment, you get something related to this, and it has predict. Now also deploy our static front end. So we are going to deploy our front end and our back end differently. So we are going to have this as our front end, same repo, we choose root folder. Our root folder will now be what's front end instead of what's back end. So and then we now our own command will be these guys: publish directory district environment setup. We set up our environments. Byte API URL will now change it to the one that our backend give us. So now we'll rewrite rule instead of we'll put slash HTML there. Deploy static website whenever you change the Byte API. So we can change that Byte API. Blueprint optional. We can use render.html at repo root. Can create both services. You must set model URL like before, and then just move on with it. So our course, after training, full replace on your host volume, and then just plug and play. This is very much straightforward. In my head, I've even seen the output in my head how it goes. But then we need to do what? We need to wait for this to finish. So perhaps I'll work on it later, and I'll show us what I've been able to achieve. And from there, we could easily just move on. But I hope we all understood what we've been doing while ago, and then how to go about it. So if there's any question, you can reach out to me. You can let me know, so that this is getting too long. So we just end there and then pick up from here later. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. So you can kindly like, subscribe, and then follow for more videos. Yeah. Thanks. Have a nice day.